He is a big player in the statewide conversation on politics and more. Bob Walsh from the NEA tonight. You kind of caught me with my glasses on. I know that they're on and they're off and they're on and they're off. You know, but sometimes I'm getting ready for the show and I forget that they're on. Sometimes they're on top of my head and I'll say, where are my glasses? Do you do that, Rox? Rox does that, she says. Jess doesn't get it because she's only 20-something. And I keep telling her, you wait. Nice to have you in. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching the Dan Yorke State of Mind program, 7:30 and 11:30. Bob Walsh is here. He's a very articulate guy, and I got to be on my game, which I'm clearly not. So I'm behind already. So hang in there. This ought to be a good one. In the meantime, let me just check the rundown and see what's going on. Oh yeah, it's hot in the NBA right now. The game tonight on TNT, I'm sure, will be highly rated. We'll talk about that in a second. Come on, man. You know, I've seen this act before. I'll explain. And we only have a couple of items because I want to spend some time, quality time, with my guest here this evening. But this is interesting in terms of the gubernatorial election and the People's Pledge. And this they just keep whittling away and whittling away and whittling away at you smokers. Let's get to it. The NBA is all aflutter right now. The commissioner had a press conference today at 2 o'clock, and Adam Silver laid the lumber on the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers. We have a headline on this? I think we do. Yes, Donald Sterling receives lifetime ban. Yeah, he got walloped. You know about this, right? The TMZ audio of a recording of this owner and his very younger girlfriend, and the whole conversation about why he doesn't, even though she's black and Mexican, why he doesn't want her hanging around with people who are black and or taking pictures of people who are black, or her with people who are black and taking pictures or bringing them to the games. Here was some of the nonsense, and then a piece of the commissioner's press conference.
Yeah, it bothers me a lot that you want to broadcast that you're associating with black people. You could do anything, but don't put them on this event for the world has to see, so they have to call me. And don't bring them into my games, okay?
Effective immediately, I am banning Mr. Sterling for life from any association with the Clippers organization or the NBA.
So what that means is he can't come to games, he can't go to practices, he can't discuss the operations of the team, he can't negotiate with the players, he can't participate on the NBA Board of Governors, and he's getting a $2.5 million fine. He's worth $1.5 billion, so that's kind of a drop in the bucket. And there's going to be forced pressure on him to sell the team. That's where the sticky wicket comes in here. 3/4 of the owners have to agree that they want him to sell the team, but I'm not sure where the legal argument is going to be here. First of all, this guy didn't do anything illegal. Oh, he's no doubt racially problematic. There's no doubt. He's got racist behavior in his past, and this was just another, icing on the cake exercise for him. But that tape was done surreptitiously, if I could say that, and illegally. And so he's going to have some arguments, I think, in terms of the forced sale. At the same time, the NBA is a closed organization, and it's got its own constitutional thing going on. So if this guy fights, he'll have some ground to fight. At the end of it, though, he'll probably be fighting for a franchise that won't be worth much, because if he fights, those guys that play for him or play for the team, because they don't think they're playing for him right now, are going to ask for outs in their contracts. It's just going to get messy. So a romance drama and a little bit of racism thrown in, and you got yourself a problem, Mr. Sterling. Good luck to you, but I ain't crying a river for you. Those thoughts that you've had are just, nobody can compute them. Next item here. Really? Okay, here's the Eyewitness News package on Gordon Fox and his flirting with coming back to office.
Arguably, the most powerful man in Rhode Island politics had the rug swept from underneath him last month.
14 years, I've seen a lot happen. I've never seen anything as dramatic as the raid on the Speaker's office.
Though Gordon Fox is out as Speaker, he has not been charged with anything.
I think that's the most disturbing thing to me, the fact that they basically destroyed a man and they haven't charged him yet.
State Representative Joe Trillo believes Fox is doing the right thing by coming back, serving his state rep position that he's held for 22 years.
Assuming that he comes back and comes on a regular basis, then he's there for his constituents. Otherwise, I think he should resign his rep seat if he's not going to come back.
The Target 12 investigator spoke to Fox by phone on Monday, Fox saying, quote, "I've been feeling awful that I have not been there. I've missed 12 days and I do have a responsibility, but I'm also respecting the process of what's going on." While Fox has been gone, Trillo says the General Assembly has been moving forward with a new speaker and a positive agenda. Trillo doesn't believe Fox will create a stir when he returns.
He no longer has any power. The power has been removed from him. So there's nothing that he could do or say that would really change the direction we're in.
You know, some of the public pressure, thank you, Kelly, some of the public pressure, I think, has caused Gordon Fox to burp up, "I'm coming back." And he's not coming back to office. He holds the office. He just hasn't shown up for work. He's getting paid, and he has a health care plan. So it's easy to say, you know what, I'm coming, but I just don't know when. Don't hold your breath. You know, it's a way to buy time, seems to me. Anyway, I'm not fooled. We'll see. You want to run a poll as to when he actually shows up for work and casts a vote? Next item. Looking for a referee? Yeah. All right, cool. The People's Pledge has been signed by 3 Democratic gubernatorial candidates. What is it? The People's Pledge is this new way to battle the super PAC money that exists in politics today, where people can give unlimited amounts of money to an organization without any identification and move the political meter. Right? So what's happened in races now is that these, organizations come in and involve themselves in campaign races by taking on agenda advertising, but really they're pummeling another candidate. And what happens here with the People's Pledge is that Tavares, Pell, and Raimondo have all agreed that if they benefit from some outside super PAC money advertising campaign, then they will contribute the cost of that campaign out of their campaign to charity. Meaning, if someone else spends money, you'll penalize, I would penalize myself if I'm the candidate and send the money to charity. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out who will determine, who benefits what. And John Marion from Common Cause, who did a good idea, or had a good idea and did a good job getting these people together, is out there looking for a referee, he told me on the radio today.
They have to agree on someone. They actually asked me to do it, and I said that I didn't want to play that role going forward.
Why?
Because, one of my main jobs at Common Cause is to call people out in certain occasions on other issues. And I didn't want to feel like I couldn't weigh in on other issues because I had to stay and be, the holier-than-thou referee for the next 6 months.
So there's a referee's job available if you want to get into that particular game. I got an old striped shirt in the closet from the old days if you want to borrow it. By the way, this is for radio, television, print, and internet advertising. It has nothing to do with direct mail or organizational stuff, which is where a lot of the groundwork or dirty work gets done in a campaign. And finally, did you notice this front page story in the Journal today about how there's a big move to get the smoking off the campuses on Rhode Island's public colleges, Rhode Island College, URI, all of that. I understand. I'm not a smoker, so it's no bridge over my troubled water, but I have to tell you, man, I've never seen anything in my life, a legal product that is under such, conceptual and economic pressure. Why don't we just make it illegal? Oh, we can't do that. 17% of American adults still smoke, or 17% of Rhode Island adults still smoke. We are as conflicted over tobacco as any issue in America today. I don't know what the answer is. I just reflected on that. When we come back, Bob Walsh from the National Education Association for Rhode Island on governor races and teacher stuff and Gordon Fox and boycotts. Stay with us.
Well, I believe that the car has been picked up by the insurance company, and that what matters in politics really shouldn't be cars. That what politics is about ideas. It's about helping people, and it's about laying out a vision for how we're going to transform the economy of this state.
And so that was
We
just
have
some
not
of the
purchased
response
it.
from Clay Pell in his most recent news conference. He is the candidate the National Education Association is supporting. Here's one of the headlines that tells you the story a while back on WPRI.com. On Ted Nesi's notes, the teachers union is supporting Clay Pell, and the guy who is the brains behind the whole operation at the NEARI is my friend Bob Walsh, executive director. Good to see you.
You too, Dan. Good to be here.
This young man, ask me, tell me, chicken or the egg? Who came to who first? Did Clay Pell come to you for an endorsement, or did you go find him and pluck him out
I
of
like
the
that
world?
rumor that I went. I
There's
heard
no
the
rumor,
rumor
that's
that I
just
went
my
to
thought.
find him. No, I'll tell you the story because no one's. Despite all these months going by, no one has asked me that question.
Well, there you go.
Late September or early October of last year, in the same day, I got a call in the morning. And someone asked me if I would think about running for governor because I thought Gina was going to go independent.
You?
Yeah, me. And I laughed, and it was a friend of mine, and I said, certainly I'm not running for governor, but I understand the frustration with the field.
Have you ever
Same
thought about
day.
running for governor? You
Well,
must
I've
have
never.
floated that once or twice.
Other people have thought about it for me. I've
You'd
never
be
thought
a hell
about
of
it
a
myself.
candidate,
Oh,
Mr.
I'd have
Walsh.
fun in the debate.
Yes, you would.
Same day, 5 hours later, same day, I get a call from someone I've known in Democratic politics forever and asked me where I was in the governor's race. I said, that's funny. We were just talking about this today. We really don't have a candidate despite two people being out there. And they said, well, have you met Clay Pell? And I said, I met him once years ago when his grandfather is still alive at a Kennedy event with Hillary Clinton. And he said, well, he's really serious about running and thinking about running. Would you have lunch with him? And I said, sure. And 20 minutes later, he called me up. We had lunch 2 days later. We spent a couple of hours together getting to know each other. And I said, well, there's something here. Invited him to meet with our folks at our delegate assembly in October. He and Michelle came. They spent a couple of hours with us, talked to everybody, spoke to the group about his views on education and economic development. And we stayed in touch. He hadn't committed to running yet. And watched as that evolved over the next few months as he did the exploration process. And one thing led to another. He decided to run and went through our process, and we were happily decided to support him for governor.
All right. Look, you are a maestro when it comes to at least Democratic primary elections. Nobody knows how to pull the strings, run a race, get your organization's primary objectives accomplished. And you're always honest and clear about that. I don't understand this candidacy. He somehow is going to have to deliver the goods. He couldn't be clumsier. And I understand sometimes rhetorical skills don't need to rule the day, but I don't know how this young man can create a gubernatorial persona.
Yeah, I disagree, and I've had the advantage of spending a fair amount of time in his company. And,
Well, bring him here.
And watch.
Why isn't he doing the show?
Well, I think that campaigns. It's funny. I tweeted out today the Gandhi quote that first they ignore you, then they make fun of you, then they fight with you, and then you win. And we've gone through the first two of those phases in the Pell campaign already. They ignored him, and then they made fun about his car being stolen.
Well,
when I ran for Congress, my car was stolen. I never got that much
They
attention.
didn't make fun about his car being stolen. They made fun of him about how he mishandled talking about it. And to this moment, he can't get on a regular guy basis like you and I and talk about it.
I
That's
feel
gonna be
that
problematic.
I've had that conversation with him, and I'd say it's a regular guy basis. And I think that the important thing, though, is his views on education and the economy, and having Rhode Islanders understand his formidable background and experience. Just because it's not the traditional Rhode Island state rep and whatnot experience, I would contend, and this will be too glib, I suppose, but I would contend that instead of being lieutenant governor, being a lieutenant in the Coast Guard, and instead of being Secretary of State, being an undersecretary of education, and instead of being Attorney General, being a Judge Advocate General and prosecuting real cases in the military, is equivalent and formidable and impressive experience. And you add to that his service in national security, right in the White House, right in that Situation Room. His credentials match up pound for pound with the other candidates in the primary and the general election, and the fact that he speaks 4 different languages is a bonus.
Well, you know what? He can speak any language he wants. I'd like to have a joust with him simply because not because I'm trying to fit any kind of tweet formula here. It's because I think the guy is shortchanging himself and this race and not being able to have this
campaigns
Look, you have
roll
a
out the
theory.
way.
You have a theory
Yeah.
that in this primary, he comes running. You've got a data point that you think you can achieve 40%, and you hinted on Newsmakers the other night that you think one of the other two candidates are more likely to get out versus Clay Pell. Why?
Yeah, I think, well, because I know Clay Pell's not going to get out of the race.
Which of the other two do you think might get out?
Well, I think that at whatever point of time that they realize that they're not going to prevail, that's a possibility. I hinted that because I heard that Professor Schiller, who I've never actually met, was saying, "Oh, well, she had this very odd theory."
You beat that one.
Yeah,
down.
yeah,
Right.
I did. It was just a bizarre theory.
But you're not hearing that any of the other candidates are contemplating getting out of this race.
No, I wouldn't think so. I think they're mired at that, 30% cap in all the polling.
And this guy's going to blow by it.
No,
with your groundwork.
Not going to blow by it. Going to
eke by it.
Walk by it, step at a time. And on primary day, the results will speak for themselves. I mean, I've seen a lot of these.
We'll get Bob's thoughts on some of the other things, including we've got enough investigative environment with Gordon Fox. See, that's what he said last week. Stay with us. So, Bob Walsh, my guest, the National Education Association Executive Director, you said something interesting about Gordon Fox the other day on Newsmakers. You thought that we've got enough, behavior regulation that, when the feds come in, that's more or less
Yeah,
enough.
well, I was surprised that a lot of people were trying to pivot to, and therefore the Ethics Commission must be more powerful. I've known Gordon for a long time. I hope, beyond hope, that it turns out he did nothing wrong. But the fact of the matter is,
come on, man.
The FBI, the IRS, the U.S. Attorney are much more powerful enforcement action groups than getting your hand slapped by an ethics commission, whether or not they have oversight. And I'm not picking on the ethics commission. I could because of that fourth branch of government problem.
We have a culture problem. Look, this is away from your bailiwick, so I guess I get an objective answer. The 38 Studios thing, when a General Assembly votes on a stealth basis on anything, it kind of gets duped into a transactional deal like they did, shows you that you've got an endemic climate problem. And I think that's one thing in terms of oversight work. Maybe we're seeing it with Nick Mattiello. There's an ethics commission restart that needs to happen. And where are you on the master lever, by the way?
I get credit on the wrong side. I've been saying we don't need the master lever for years, but my reasons are different. Well, I have two reasons. One is very practical. It doesn't work with the current ballot configuration. You weren't in Rhode Island when we had the old big machines where if you pulled, when you first voted, you pulled the master lever.
I've been around a while.
That's
Walsh.
right. I know.
Yeah,
that's well. I thought we had updated the machines before that.
Now it's the magic marker.
Right, and
the master
you
mind.
don't see what the master lever does right away. So for practical reasons on transparency, it shouldn't be there. But the other reason people get mad at me about, you rely more on me to help you in a down ballot race if there's no master lever. If I'm out there working hard for the top of the ticket races, for the U.S. Senate, for the Congress and the governor, and say, I just pull the master lever for all the Democrats because it's easy. Without the master lever, if you're running for state rep or state senator, you're more dependent on groups like mine, or the party, or both, to get folks to vote for you as well. There's no more free ride at the bottom of the ballot.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
Competitiveness is good.
So, you support the end of the master lever? The magic marker? You're ambivalent?
No, I came out 4 years ago against this. People just keep forgetting.
Oh, you mean against the master?
Against the master
so
lever.
You're with me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what the heck? We just spent a minute me not understanding what the hell you were saying. My bad, I guess.
No, well, people are surprised that I say that.
I just think that you've set a tone in your commentary, which is like, hey, listen, when the blank really hits the fan, don't worry, we got the feds. And I'm saying we got got a lot of culture change that we need to have here before we just rely on the fact that we need raids.
I think the underlying message is people get caught. People do bad things, get caught. There may be too much of a time lag. And I don't think 38 Studios was an illegal thing necessarily. It was just a foolish thing.
Well,
and I said that. I also said that 4 years ago. Just as a former banker, as a former financial professional, it was a bad investment.
Transparency will tell us whether it was an illegal thing. Tell me about this boycott on WPRO that your brethren have
I
have
think
sponsors.
the whole union movement
that
is
the
come
entire
behind.
station,
But
Democrats down the line are not appearing or spending
that's
money. What's the story?
well, John DePietro said sounded in a different way, very much like a guy who no longer can own a basketball team. So not only is Sterling tarnished, DePietro is tarnished, and that got taken out on the entire station. From a personal standpoint, I would advocate and have advocated that we should go back on Yorke and Cianci and Matty Allen and Valicenti in the morning. And we've always talked to the news people and focus the ire directly where it belongs on John DePietro, because I get along with almost everybody, Dan.
So why can't you win that argument?
We're just starting that conversation as we're traveling into an election.
It hurts the public discourse.
Yeah,
and God forbid you got a serious general election between Republicans and Democrats.
I think that
we
from a level
role.
playing field standpoint, that it's time to revisit that, and I have advocated for it. I'm advocating for it now, and I've advocated for it internally. We'll see how it plays out. I think you're a fair broker on debates. I want to see the candidates debate on your show, including the primary candidate. So I think we have to get to that point.
All right, so
and soon.
Maybe we're going to make some progress. Geez, with only 30, 40 seconds left, time flies when I talk to Bob Walsh. You said that you think Ken Block's going to win that Republican
I do think Ken
primary.
Block's going to win the Republican primary.
Because?
I think that he has persuaded the gamut of folks who move those Republican primaries, and Mayor Fung just hasn't.
That make you drool?
No.
Or
I think Ken's a pretty formidable
candidate.
Yeah, I think he's a formidable candidate. I still think my guy takes him in the finals, but I think it's going to be a real race.
Clay Pell upsets Raimondo Taveras and then beats Block.
I think it's going to be, if they all stay in, I think it's going to be Pell, then Raimondo, then Taveras, in that order.
Come back a lot, all right?
Yeah.
Bob Walsh, your state of mind next. Mine, 228-1886. Leave us a voicemail or email us or tweet at us like Bob Walsh loves to do. Loves to tweet. Anyway, here's a voicemail that cracked me up today.
I feel when I watch your program that in the 3 month period, I should get 3 more credits to Bryant University, or maybe 6 credits would be added on towards a master's or something. I really learn a lot listening to your program. I think I should get some extra credits.
That would make me a professor. I don't think so. We'll see you tomorrow on the radio at noon and back here at 7:30. Bye-bye.